Alright, KTBR family, thank you for joining me for another episode. This is going to be a bit of a car talk. I'm on the way back home, so it'll be a short one, like 15 minutes, but I just helped my buddies move in yesterday. Super stoked for them. They just got their first apartment. Maybe I'll throw up a picture here or something, but yeah, so this is the day after Valentine's Day, and I kind of had some relationship-based knowledge, advice, I guess, on my mind. You know, I'm a college student. I'm pretty much a third year in architecture. I'm at Georgia Tech, and I haven't been in a serious relationship since high school. You know, I kind of fell in love in high school. The cliche, you know, just falling for your first lover, this and that. And it was great for a little while until I think we kind of realized we just weren't super compatible, and, you know, we went our separate ways. It was tough, but that's whatever. It's behind me years ago. And since then, I've been single, but I've been talking to girls for sure. You know, I've hung out with girls, you know, maybe in like a mutual friend setting, or I've tried dating apps in the past for sure. I've tried Tinder, Hinge, all that stuff. And I feel like those apps are just so designed to fail. Like, people, even the people that are seeking relationships on there, it's so, the algorithm on those apps and the just general, the stigma around those apps is very true, honestly. It's just like a lot of people looking for hookups. It's hard. This is the thing. I think that it's really hard to form a meaningful relationship with somebody if you're not friends first, or if you don't have a non-relationship introduction to them, a non-romantic introduction. When you immediately go into a situation where romance is like the key objective and motive, it just muddies things up so much. Like, you're seeing these people on these apps, you have instant access to hundreds, if not thousands, of women or men in your area, and it's just, it desensitizes us. It makes us like, oh, she's like, I don't know, that freckle on her face, I don't know, she's not too pretty, I don't really like the way she's posing in that photo, and you just write someone off immediately. Or, on the other hand, someone has really good photos, and then you're like, damn, they're beautiful, and then you meet up with them in person, and then maybe they're a little different, maybe they act a little different than they texted, or maybe they look a little different than their profile, not like catfish, but just not perfect. And I've been trying to really stay away from those recently because it just sets bad expectations. And for me, as a student who's also, you know, working on social media and coaching some young men, some older men as well, I have a lot on my plate, and I always have something I could be getting done. And I just find whenever I take the time to go on these apps and try to start conversations with women and sort of go out of my way, it always ends up leaving me just not fulfilled, even after I hang out with these girls. You know, it just feels fabricated. And something I've been thinking a lot about is kind of the traits that I would want in a wife, and or just a partner. And I know that opposites attract, but I feel like you have to be very aligned on a lot of stuff, especially with, you know, raising a child and living in the same space. So you can't just be polar opposites, you know. It's got to be pretty connected to an extent. And I was actually just watching Nick Bear. I'm not sure if you guys know who he is. He's a hybrid athlete. I just found him like about a month ago, and he does the same type of training I'm doing. And so I've been watching a lot more of his videos, super informational, but he just had a kid himself, and he had a video. It was a 10-mile run, and he was talking about, back before, like my wife was pregnant, or back before I had a kid, back before even he had a wife. He's like, waking up at 6:30 was early. So, yeah, it's early. And then he was like, and then, the wife's there, wake up at 6, get some stuff done, and then it becomes like 5:30, then 5, and then 4:45. He said now he wakes up at 4:20 every morning, so he can get up, he can go for a run, he can, kind of check emails, do all his business, work-related things before his daughter's awake, before his wife's awake, so he can be able to be there and provide for them. And I think that's so powerful on the sacrifices that you need to make in a relationship, to where you're not having to sacrifice your own lifestyle or your own goals and things that you're pursuing. Any of y'all from Atlanta, I mean, I'm sure other big cities, I love these light tunnels, man. They're just so, when I was a kid, I used to go through them and just get so enamored. Like, I'm blinded by the lights. You know what I'm saying? But that being said, I don't know, it's tough. I mean, those of you who follow me on Instagram probably saw my post about Valentine's Day yesterday, just talking about how, a lot of these current relationships are so fake, and they're just so attention driven. And it's not, a big cliche is, oh, women just want attention. It's men too. We crave attention just as much as the next human being. It's just a human trait. And I think a big thing with these dating apps is people will kind of just throw caution to the side and just, hang out and just kind of maybe move too fast in these relationships with people, just because they're like, want that rush, they want that dopamine, they want that feeling of love and that feeling of affection and attention. But I've just found that the best relationships I've had with people always form after a long time of just really getting to know the person deeply. It's not, sex and even just the precursors to that, just like kissing and just that type of affection doesn't hold half the weight it does when you actually love the person and when you really care about the person. It's just a different, that's, God created sex as primarily, reproduction and the creation of life, but it's an intimate, form of love, and it's a form of care, and I feel like our generation has just thrown that to the side and really commoditized it as more of like a pleasure principle. So, I'm not perfect, but I'm definitely trying to stay away from that more consciously as I grow older. And I think honestly, the best way to find a relationship is to just focus on you and to focus on your own path, and to understand that you don't just close off, your boundaries. Like, keep an open mind and keep an open heart, but you can't just go out of your way to like clubs and just looking for that attention. You just have to be steadfast in your own work, in your own hobbies, and if you cross paths with somebody and you become friends and maybe something develops, take it slow and really figure them out and figure out, like, would we be compatible together? Would this be a good mother or father to my children? It's just something to really consider, like, I am super into cooking, and it's like, I don't think that my wife has got to cook all the time, but I would love a woman who knows how to cook, you know what I'm saying? We got to be equally yoked, equally yoked in capability, in spirit, and in all things, you know. And I just think it's beautiful. Just again, going back to the Nick Bear thing, I just think it's awesome that as a grown man, I'm assuming he's like probably in his 30s, mid-30s maybe, that he's able to still live this completely healthy lifestyle, balance his life as a hybrid athlete, and still be like a family man. You know, that's the goal. I want to be able to be a strong man for my kids, for my wife, and it's so sad to see a lot of these people that sort of just end up compromising. You know, they end up giving up a part of themselves to be with someone else. And again, it's like you have to make sacrifices in a relationship, but you have to stay disciplined in a relationship to make that work. And you have to nurture it. And if you're kind of mad, I'm trying to think of the word. If something's kind of peeving you, something that you had to give up, that's just feels like a part of you that really defines your personality, if that's something that you have to give up to just be with somebody, I feel like in the long run, it's just not going to work out, you know? Your visions aren't aligned, you're not willing to make healthy compromises for each other, and it just ends up tearing both people apart and falling apart, and it's sad. I see it all too often. But I think the goal for me personally is just to be able to find somebody who I can work with me, who's equally healthy and motivated and yoked in the spirit. And I don't know how long that'll take, you know? I may find somebody next month. I may find somebody next year, or maybe it's gonna be 10 years. And I guess the more comfortable I become in my own skin, the more set in my routine I become a little more accepting of that fact that it might not come eventually, and it might not come immediately, but if you have the right intentions and if you have an open heart, it'll come eventually. So I don't know. I would just say, and even I get these feelings where, you know, like you think about maybe a past relationship you had, or you think about a certain girl and you really just want to like get out there and do it. And if you think it'll work, by all means go for it, man. Shoot for the stars. But if you're having to go so out of your way that you're shedding a part of yourself, in the end, it's just not worth it. KTBR family, I love you guys. I hope you love yourselves. I hope you're training hard, working hard, studying, reading the scripture, really enriching yourself every day. So on Valentine's Day, on any day, don't use a holiday as an excuse to feel mopey or to stop doing the things that you do on the regular, you know? It's just another day. You take it, you build yourself up just like you would any other day, and you continue on with life. But with that being said, I'm almost home. I'm about to go for a nice run in this overcast, let's see here, this overcast Atlanta weather. I know I kind of look chopped right now, y'all. I just woke up at my buddy's and just hopped in the car and went. But that being said, thank you guys for watching. Hope you gained some insight from this video, and I would love to hear everybody's comments and opinions, because there's really no right answer for this stuff, especially when it comes to love and relationships. So I would love to hear maybe people in successful relationships kind of talk about how you manage things and the sacrifices and the discipline you have to have in your relationship. But until next time, keep the ball rolling.